Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs YouTube channel, or welcome to the YouTube channel if it's your first time here. Be cool if you could subscribe. Anyway, back onto the trunk lid on the Area 51 with the boot lock delete deck lid, trunk lid, boot lid. I don't even know, like here in New Zealand we call them a boot lid. I don't know why. So I'll try and use terminology that most of my subscribers would understand, which is trunk lid or deck lid, but forgive me if I slip back into the old boot lid thing because it's been many years of calling them a boot. Anyway, so yeah, going to weld up the holes that we don't need anymore, and going to try doing it with the old TIG welder, doing some sheet metal work with the TIG welder in situ rather than patch panels on the bench. So that could be interesting. Haven't really done that before, not quite sure how it'll go, still learning, so let's get at it. Alrighty, so if you watched the last video, you would have seen us relocating the latch down the bottom here, and I've got it hooked up to just a cable and stuff at the moment. So we moved this latch from in the trunk lid to down here and made up this piece to catch it. So we've got to fill up these holes and the old lock hole. Now this lock hole's already been messed with before at some stage, I'm not sure when. When I got it, it had a piece of a little bit of steel brazed over the top of it. I kind of picked that off and someone had brazed that on and bashed it back, so I don't know how they got in and out of the boot, but what my mission is to fill this in. Now we could take the easy route and just cut a little disc and zap that in there and put some filler over the top and it would be all done, but it's already pretty beat up, and it's kind of pulled in a little as well from whatever beating on it that's happened in the past. So I'm actually thinking of cutting out a bigger piece, maybe about sort of so big, and replacing that whole bit of steel there and try to sort of smooth out some of these high spots and low spots and stuff in the process. I've got a bit of a dent there that I've got to try and get in behind and see if I can knock those up a little bit, and there's one over there too, but that's alright. And then make up some bits and fill in these holes and fill in this hole here, but I'll do this second so I can use this as an access to get up in here if I need to. So yeah, let's do it. Alrighty, so found a piece of steel, had a little bit of surface rust on there, so I just cleaned it off, and I'm going to use my highly technical compass here to create a circle. You're probably wondering why I'm going to create a circle rather than just cut a square patch and cut it out square and that sort of thing. It's trickier to do it as a circle because it's harder to cut it out of the old trunk lid as a circle, but my logic and reasoning behind this is if you've ever welded a square patch into something that's got curves and whatnot in it, they get this pucker, weird kind of pull in shrinkage, whether you're doing it with MIG, TIG, oxyacetylene, but if you put a curve in it, you don't get the same kind of pucker. You know what I'm saying? Like a pucker. So yeah, I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to do a little bit of shaping on it to make it a curve. Hopefully this is big enough. I might check that first. Okay, my size is pretty good for what I want to cut out of there, I think. And then I should be able to sort of knock up the rest of the low spots on that trunk lid, boot lid, Frankenlid, deck lid to smooth out that, you know what I'm saying? Train. And yeah, so I just got to cut this out and then start playing around with that boot lid, Frankenlid, deck lid, trunk lid. So cut my disc and sort of clean back some of this. If you can see it on the camera here, but you can see some of the old brazing in these areas and stuff. There's been a repair here, and you can see all the low spots, and so I just want to kind of like get rid of some of that in one go. So what I'm going to do is put this in here like so, but I need to put the curve into it before I do that, and then I can mark it, cut this out, try and knock up some of these low points down here and a couple of other little bits and bobs, smooth them out, and then I'll set about welding that piece in. Make sense? So got to figure out how to put a little bit of a curve into it, which I'll probably just use a bit of pipe or something from under there. Technical tooling, or what else? I used to have some slip rollers, but I sold them before I got this car, and because I hardly ever used them, and it's like, and they took up a lot of space, but kind of wish I still had them now. Getting there. Okay, so I've marked what I'm going to cut out of here. You can see all this ugliness, so the tricky part is to cut this circle out of here as clean as possible, slightly undersized, so I can then trim to suit this, or trim that to suit better, if that makes sense. Cut curvy things like that before, so I've got a variety of other little tools that I can use to clean it up, hopefully, if that makes sense. Anyway, cutty time. Okay, so I'm going to use a really little worn out zip disc for this, because I can get a tighter radius on it, and it should last the duration of this cut, hopefully. Alrighty, hopefully the camera was pointed in the right direction for all of that. Probably not. There's my hole cut, my patch that's going to go in there. So, just got to go and spend a bit of time knocking some of these dents back up and making sure my shape's good, and get ready to weld it in, I guess. Maybe some edge primer or something inside there would be a good idea. So this is pretty much flushed out, ready to receive its new piece. So I'm going to squirt a little bit of weld through primer and stuff in there, and squirt a little bit on the back of my piece just to protect it as much as I can. I will be able to spray in here to a certain degree in there, but I'm going to weld up this as well, so can't kind of get in from there. I'll be able to spray a bit of stuff in before I weld this up, and then spray the back of this from up under there, hopefully.
well, what you're witnessing now is like amateur hour. Decided to try TIG welding this in after spending all that time getting all nice and straight and square. Now I've kind of puckered the puckery out of it. So I'm going to spend probably the next few hours trying to stretch those welds back out with very limited access to getting in behind me. So yeah, I'll show you a bit of how I'm going to do it, and then yeah, and hopefully I can straighten it out enough again. So yeah, it is what it is, got to learn somehow. Yeah, so we'll get into it. Okay, so managed to actually pull that back again. I was pretty worried that I'd made a big warped mess of welding up that thing there. Still got a few little spots that need more addressing, but managed to get it to come back somewhat. We've got a little bit of daylight there, which will be alright. I've just got to give it a final sort of grind up, and then I might chuck a little bit of etch over it just to protect it for now. Squared up some etch on the inside up in here, and yeah, so I don't know if you noticed what I was trying to do there, but I was just trying to, because I welded this in and kind of metal shrinks as it cools down, it pulls all of this surrounding steel back down with it. So what I was trying to do was kind of hammer it back, stretch the welds back out, and it kind of worked to some degree, but anyway I ended up using the slapper, which is just a engineer's file that I heated up and bent years ago, and just try to sort of stretch the steel around it slightly just to kind of move it all back up and out again. And on the whole I think it's good enough, considering the rest of the is considerably as well. So it's going to be a bit of filler in this boot lid, Frankenlid, deck lid, trunk lid, fruit lid. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just going to finish this up and yeah, squirt some etch into the inside and on top here just to seal it up for now, and then figure out what I'm going to do on the inside part, since I won't actually need to get in there again once I've finished with this. Sweet. Right, so next day, got a little bit of just black etch on this boot lock delete.
Next up on the agenda is to fill in these bits here, and I've cut a piece here to go in there, so that'll weld that in there, and I'll do a couple of little discs and weld those in there. So I might MIG weld these in though, just because I don't want to do it upside down with the old TIG welder, because my experience with the TIG welding upside down is a bit sketchy at best. So we'll do that. Alrighty, okay, I decided to try TIG welding it, just because, again, not going to get any better at it unless I practice. So, practice. I wouldn't say it was great, but it will grind up just fine. Yeah, so I've just got to clean that up, and I've got to do the 2 old bolt holes, and then that's that bit all welded up. So I'm going to cut me a couple of little pieces for those bolt holes and weld those in, and then I'll give it a little grind up, and then I'll probably have to go around and fill in on the little holes that I missed. So cut me some little discs now, I think. Oh, that's those bits all ground back and cleaned up. That little patch actually kind of finished up nicer than the bit on the outside, so there you have it. And I was all worried about TIG welding the inside bit after messing up the outside, but I'm just going to squirt some etch primer on this and seal it up for now, and then yeah, clean up. Still got a bit of grinding and stuff to do on the underside of this. When I did this, or the sectioned all the boot lid originally, I didn't have any of those belts for the power file thing there to kind of get into these hard to get areas. Didn't have a die grinder either, so, and it was the 2020 lockdown, so we were well and truly hard up for getting supplies, so I just made do with what I had. But as we get closer to prepping this all up for paint and all that kind of stuff, I'll get back in there and do the final sort of tidy up on the underside and the outer skin and that as well, and strip it all back again and get it ready to paint proper like. Oh, there's the final filled in bits and bobs on the old boot latch hole. A couple of little pits in the welds, but they're fine. I'll get those with a bit of body filler later on down the track. And yeah, same on the top here, but as you can see, the old Franken boot lid, we've got a bit of filler work to do on that as well. Well, there we have it, guys. The welded up trunk lid, boot lid, deck lid hole on the Euro 51. So that's that part of the little project sort of done for now. As you can probably tell, there's still a lot of work to go into that deck lid, trunk lid, boot lid. That in the up and coming sort of adventure of building this car known as the Area 51. So I'm going to leave it at that for this video for today. And yeah, don't know what I'm going to do next. Still waiting on my parts coming from America. They're still in the country. Still don't know when they're actually going to land here with me. Hopefully very soon. Yeah, but anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you've done so. If you haven't done so, it'd be really cool if you did. If you're making it this far in the old watching of this video. Also, got a new welding helmet. Big difference. Can see some stuff now, which is really quite handy. And yeah, till next time, take it easy and peace.